Good evening, everyone. Happy Sunday evening. Thank you very much for joining Unspoken Conversations. Your words have power. And tonight we are going to be talking about children and violence. So again, I'm still battling with this polyp on my vocal cord. So my voice wants to go in and out. So please forgive me if I start talking in the cracks. Be dealing with this now for a little bit, over a month. I go to the doctor this coming Wednesday, so to see what's going on. So yeah, but anyway, I'm super excited because tonight we have two very special guests to join us in this conversation. Our first guest is my grandson, Khalil Edmond, and he was super excited to join me in conversation. I talked to him about my podcast like some months ago, and Khalil, look, I did it.
Sweet.
And I didn't have several episodes. But I remember when I said I was going to do this, I asked him, did he want to join my podcast? And he was like, sure. And I'm sure he had no idea what exactly we would be talking about. But I talk about anything and everything. I talk about the things people don't want to talk about. I talk about things that people have talked about in the privacy of their own home. So with that being said, tonight we're going to talk about just children and violence. My other very special guest, and I am so very appreciative of his time. Um, when I went and asked him would he join us, and I told him what the topic was, he didn't hesitate, and so I am very appreciative of that. You will see that his name appears up as Jeremy Cox, but I know him as JC, and I think he wants us to call him JC. But I'll tell you a little bit about JC. He is a native of Virginia. Currently, he lives in Charlotte for the past 10 years. He is a husband, a father, a musician, an educational leader in public schools. He actually happens to be the assistant principal at Rocky River High School. Um, he's been 15 years as an educator and 7 years as an administrator. He happens to be the musician at my church, in the Beginnings Church. He's a man of God, and he is a brother of the Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity, Inc. Was I supposed to say incorporated?
Incorporated.
All right, incorporated. And he's an advocate for helping the community and pushing our youth to be the best they can be. So welcome both JC and Khalil. And then our co-host, my co-host, he is at work. Um, I can't be picky about his attendance, at least not yet, because I am greatly appreciative of the fact that even though he is at work, he is still willing to join me in this conversation. Um, his schedule is such that he doesn't really have control over his Sunday evenings. But he also realizes the importance of having these conversations with me. And so, again, I'm humbled and I'm appreciative of whatever time he gives me. So I just ask that everybody be patient in the understanding as he is at work. And he works. Well, I'll let him tell you where he works at and what he was doing, because I was hoping that he would be finished and so we wouldn't be distracted. So my co-host, Mr. Paris, tell everybody where you work at, because we
Uh,
clearly saw you in the kitchen cooking.
I'm done now. But I
Okay.
work for People Inc. It's a company that's built for people with disabilities and stuff like that. So I basically work with them.
And so it's their dinner time.
Yeah, it's dinner time.
Okay. Are they gonna be distracting you?
No, that's it. No, they're
Oh, okay.
gonna go on and do their own thing.
Oh, can you close the door and like,
Yeah.
because
So they eating. So they
okay.
eating now, and after a minute, she about to give them their meds, and then after that, they'll be asleep. So
I'll
ain't
be
gonna be too
down
much
for
of
the
a
count.
hassle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool beans. Welcome, Dantia. So it was because of
I just
Dantia that I was able to go to the next level with callers. She was my first caller last week. And so now I actually have a podcast phone number, so people can actually call the podcast number. And let me go ahead and add the phone number. So for those who would like to call in and share their comment, ask a question, uh, give an opinion, you are absolutely welcome to ask our guests any questions. So definitely feel free, but we'll go ahead and get started. So again, this conversation, has to do with children and violence. Uh, of course, I could Google, and when I did Google, I came up with tons and tons of uh, situations that involved children and violence. I particularly came across what did I do? I think I Googled children and violence, and I actually came across a Wikipedia page that listed. Oh my goodness, this list went back, and I think to like the early 1900s,
Oh wow.
and the youngest. Boy, when I tell y'all this, y'all gonna be blown away. Because I was blown away. I had to keep looking at the year because I was like, no way, that can't be right. The uh, hmm, youngest murder in the United States occurred October 30th, 1897.
Mm.
And
I'm back.
and it was a little girl. They don't well, they don't have her specific date of birth, but the date that she murdered was on October 30th. And at the time that she committed this murder, she was 4 years old.
Oh wow.
She only murdered one person, but she injured two or more people. Of course, she was not charged due to her age, and of course, because it was happened in 1897, she is no longer living. Um, this Wikipedia page lists. I think that they were specific to children under the age of 13.
Mm.
In 1993, a young man he murdered. He was 6 years old at the time that he committed murder. It was on February 29th of 2000. He was born in 1993. The murders happened at Buell Elementary School in Mount Morris Township, Michigan. He only murdered one person, but and I don't mean to say only because to one is more is too many.
Mhm.
Um, and it says that he could not be legally charged with murder because of his age. He was expelled from school and he was sent to live with family members. I have also, let's see. So I think the 4-year-old looks like that was the youngest, but I got another one, 6-year-old in 1899 in Alabama. She also killed one person. Um, and I'm glad that I came across this Wikipedia page because I know, and this will be a whole nother conversation for a completely different time, but um, there was a question: does violence happen in other countries like violence happens in the United States?
Mm.
Specifically, do children, the way that children are murdering people here in the United States, does the same thing happen in other countries? And so, according to this Wikipedia page, um, there are definitely more cases in the United States, but I have one here. This happened in between December, and I'm going to have to do some research on this, but this occurred between December 4th, 1965 to January 4th, 1966. This person, he was 12 years old, and he murdered 4 people. He was arrested and institutionalized. He was 12 years old. This was in Spain. So, and I see Ireland, I see Spain, Ireland, Japan, but again, the United States, far more cases than any other country. So then that leads me to uh, um, in the past year or so. Well, actually, I'm gonna go back a little bit past 2022. I don't remember exactly the year that this happened. I want to say it was 2018. There was a shooting at Butler High School here in Charlotte, and at the time, a 16-year-old was murdered by another 16-year-old. And if I remember correctly, this actually happened inside the school. Um, then you have had just happened a couple of weeks ago in Virginia. You have a 6-year-old who got a handgun and he shot his teacher um, uh, in her chest. I believe that the gun was a 9 millimeter. Then you have in Uvalde, Texas, the 18-year-old who's a Hispanic young man who went into that elementary school and he shot up that elementary school. And we know, how many children and teachers died then. And then we also have a 19-year-old in Paris. Was the boy in Buffalo? Was he 19 at the time or was he 18?
He was 18.
Okay. So he was at the young man in Buffalo. He was 18 years old. He was an 18-year-old white male when he went into a supermarket in Buffalo, New York, and murdered 10 people. And then we come up to, and I'm going to say most recent because I don't know of any shootings that have happened in the past week or two here in Charlotte. But the most recent was a 17-year-old who was murdered by another student, while he was getting off of his school bus. So, what really spawned this conversation had to do really with the 6-year-old, because I don't understand uh, how 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 a 6-year-old, for whatever the teacher may have done or did not do, that this was that was a decision that the 6-year-old made. So I'm a mom. My children are grown. And then I have grandchildren. Um, I don't see I don't necessarily see all of my grandchildren all of the time or what have you. So I honestly can't say that they don't have violent tendencies. I think anybody can be pushed to violence. So that's that to me. I think that goes without saying. But it's how do you make that decision? So I have my own theory when it comes down to children. So um, my first theory is that I don't think children understand that death is final, and so I want to start there.
Mm.
But really quick, Dontia says, JC, how do you feel about teens and violence, and what has been your experience? So before I ask JC that question, Dontia, thank you so much for your question. I want to start with the notion of death. So I actually want to go to Khalil, because Khalil is 16 years old. He's in high school. Now, I'm sure he's seen various levels of crazy, in school and what have you. But so I'm gonna pose a scenario to you, and I want you to tell me your reaction. So let's just say it's your birthday, and I gave you $500 for your birthday, and you happen to bring the $500 with you to school, because after school you were going to go buy your latest gaming stuff, whatever that looks like. And so you're all excited. You know what you're going to do when you get out of school and what have you. And you got a wallet, and so the $500 is in your wallet, and you happen to be in the bathroom, and some boys jump you, and they take your wallet, and they take your $500. So my first question to you is, are you angry?
Yes.
How angry are you?
That I was given money and it got taken.
Mm-hmm. And how angry are you? What do you want to do about it?
Seek revenge.
You're gonna seek revenge? What does that look like?
Like going after the people that take your money.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get it back somehow, telling teachers or physical.
Well, don't give me the right answer. Give me your answer. What would you do?
Yeah, probably that. If I was able to see them, it would be physical, or try to get like an adult and see if they could find the person and get my stuff back.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this: How likely are you to go tell the teacher versus you take it into your own hands?
Less likely to tell the teacher, more likely to take it in my own hands.
You're probably going to take it into your own hands.
Yeah.
And why would you not? Why would you not tell your teacher first?
Because personally, I think I could take care of it. See, but at that point, I feel like there's not much that the teacher can do at that moment. So I feel like if I was there and I could go find him, and I could probably go do something about it.
But now I didn't say you got jumped by one boy. I said you got jumped by a couple of boys. So let's just say it was like 3 boys. Mm-hmm. So are you gonna go look for all 3 boys and handle it by yourself?
Probably not. I'll probably get like a group of friends. See if somebody's down to come with me to go find these people.
Okay. So let's say, your group of friends, in that group, one of your friends, they have access to a gun, and they tell you that they have access to a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ask that friend to let you use it? Be honest. You're not gonna get in trouble. I need to know what you think. We want to understand what our kids are thinking.
Probably not. I'll probably say just bring it just in case, and he'll use it. But me, probably not me.
Okay, so your friend brings this gun that he has access to, and he makes a decision. So let's say, okay, y'all find the three boys, and y'all all get into it, y'all fighting and what have you, and he decides that he wants to use the gun, and he shoots one of the boys, and they die. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like he was justified in doing that?
You said the person with the gun or the person
The person with the gun
um
that shot the boy.
I feel if he had the gun and he shot him, it must be a reason, and the reason probably was he felt offended, or maybe like he felt like I don't know, like he was nervous, so he just shot him because he thought the boy might attack him or something.
Hmm.
So I guess just self-defense.
So let me ask you this: so the boy that he shot sits in your math class next to you.
Mm-hmm.
So you're used to seeing him every day you go to class.
Yeah.
But now that he's been shot, he's not gonna be in that seat anymore. So when you now look over to that seat and realize that he's not in that seat anymore, does that impact you? Do you feel any particular way about that?
No.
Because why?
Because he kind of did it to himself by jumping me and staking my money. So I feel like he kind of put that on him. So like every time I think about that, I'll think about the moment where he jumped me and he robbed me for my money.
Okay. So JC, does anything that Khalil say sound like familiar?
Yeah. This is everyday, when things happen, this is the mindset at the end when I have those conversations with students. It's just all about just getting back at that moment. It's no thinking it through. First thing he said, he wouldn't even think about telling an adult. And I think that's a mindset across this generation now. It's just like, I can handle it myself. So they don't even think about, to let somebody know what's going on. So by the time we get to it, it's already at the end or at the tail of things. So,
So do you think, and Khalil and JC, you both can answer this question. Do you feel like you lost? So for Khalil, have you lost confidence in adults, or do you just or have you never had any level of confidence in adults? And then for JC, do you feel like our kids have lost confidence in adults? So I'll Khalil, if you can answer that for me first.
I'll probably say yeah, because they'll probably do it in a manner which it probably wouldn't work. So I'll be like, I'll probably rather just do it for myself than get an adult.
Okay, so okay, JC.
Definitely, I think it's just about them having a relationship with an untrusted adult, and then that's the thing that we preach every day. It's not. I don't think it's that they don't have it. I just think that some of them don't know, or it's just all about trust too. So if you haven't built a certain relationship with, with that student, they're not going to come to you. Once they gain your trust and they know that you really care about it, you have a better chance of them coming and let you know, how they feeling, what's going on beforehand.
Mm-hmm. You know. Paris, you have any questions? Yeah, or thoughts?
Well, I know somebody steal $500 from me in high school. You got like a 5-minute window where you might be able to get your money back, and you ain't got time to tell no teacher. You got to go get your stuff. And, we want to teach our kids to take this method, but we all been somewhere when something got stolen from you, and you got to get it ASAP, or it's a lost cause, especially in a school. And I actually been in a school where somebody got their money stolen. They ain't get it back, no matter who they told. So, I mean, that situation right there is just ain't no easy way out that situation. And to put a child in that type of predicament, it's I wouldn't even know how to handle. I mean, you can't tell me not to go get my stuff. It's $500. So,
but now you just said something. You just said something that has some merit. You said putting a child in that predicament.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So so maybe there is some ownership on the part of the parent. Like, so I gave him $500. I mean, I'm the grandmother, so I don't live with him, but yet still though, I gave him $500. Now I'm not going to give him $500 without his mother knowing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I would like to think that his mother would say to him, don't take that money to school, to school with you. So is that the better? That's like the better solution, right? Because I think there's something to be said. Like, how many things are we doing as parents that we're putting our children in a situation where they gotta think, they gotta react quickly.
That's true.
And so I appreciate you saying that, Press, because I didn't think about it.
Yeah, my mama wasn't giving me $500. No, I'm playing.
Now, I didn't need to give you $500. I just take it to the store. But Khalil, now when we put it that way, do you feel like you was put into a situation that you probably shouldn't have been put into?
I say yes and no, because you could have just left the money home, but then again, if you're so eager to get that thing, you're gonna take the money with you, because that's all you can think about is getting the whatever you want, that gaming system or that accessory.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but maybe you could wait. I mean, because I know today, look, $500 burns a hole in your pocket. But maybe you could wait till Saturday. Why you have to get it in the middle of the school week?
Cause you gotta let the girls know that you got $500.
Is that it, Khalil? You had to let the girls know you got $500.
Sometimes, well, now that I'm in high school, $500 isn't too much money, but it's still something. Girls they want to see like 1,000 or see like you got money put away. That's what girls like to see now. But if you like in middle school, then yeah, that'd be cool to somebody.
Oh, so middle school is 500, high school is 1,000.
Yeah, like you get some
so
money.
Like, what is it in college? Like 10,000? How much is it in college?
College, you got like you got Bitcoin or something big. Not stocks or something.
Wait, I'm sorry. Did you just say Bitcoin?
Yeah. Crypto.
I'm done. What you know about Bitcoin?
I need to get on it and start saving.
No, you need to talk to your grandma, and I can tell you all about Bitcoin. Don't do it.
It don't work.
Talk to your grandma.
Anyway.
Okay, yeah. So let's take that same scenario. Mm-hmm. You have a gun. You mad they took your $500. Your mother got a gun at home that you got access to. Do you go and get that gun and take it to school to get your money back?
I would say yes, but I wouldn't have any intentions to use it.
How many people you know take a gun carry a gun with the intentions not to use it?
I'll say some of my class. Like I maybe it's like my classmates, but like maybe outside of my class, maybe yeah.
So don't call no names. So
I'm
you
about to say,
saying
don't
that,
dry snitch.
yeah, don't call no names, but are you saying that you know of students who actually they come to school with a gun? Wait, doesn't your school have metal detectors?
Yeah.
All schools do.
Yeah, all schools don't have metal detectors.
All of them do.
All of them. Oh, so yeah. So your school got metal detectors. So how are students coming in the building with guns?
Because there's a back way, and if you wanted us to hide a gun,
All right, never mind. Look, we go scratch that. So, but I do know what you're getting ready to say. All right, because I know about it because your mother mentioned it. So basically what you're saying is that for these schools, there is a way for students to get into the building and they can have guns on them and they can do whatever it is that they need to do.
I won't say all schools, but I know my school definitely, yeah.
Yeah. Does that make you nervous in that environment?
Not necessarily.
Because why?
Because usually
You
I'm
feel
not
safe?
usually sitting outside. I'm usually in a classroom or in the bathroom. Somewhere like there's adults and security guards is at. Never like by myself on campus.
So you feel safe?
Yeah.
You do feel safe. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
So JC, knowing, so that's not your, of course, that's not your school, but knowing that, that there is a school in this school district that's the potential environment. I mean, how does that make you feel?
That's a little scary. And then the fact to feel like, in the same sense that you feel safe, I think that's a little scary as well. Because I, just speaking as an administrator, our goal is to always make sure that every student is safe and that they, come to school and be able to return home. That's our job. But when you do have instances like this, or you hear things like this, it makes you really think, how much do we have in place to make sure, I know we can't fix everything. There's always a back door to everything, but just to know that, students know that, but still feel like, they're okay. You shouldn't have to feel only comfortable when you're inside a building or with, an adult. You should be able to feel safe to be outside as well. Looking at the biggest picture.
So, one of our viewers says that, and I think this goes back to the question I asked earlier about trusting adults. And so the comment is that society has created an environment that has taught students that adults are against them. Many students feel that adults don't care. That adults don't or can't relate to what they are going through.
That's true.
Khalil, you think that's true? Is that you think that's an accurate statement?
Yeah.
So you would agree that your teachers or other administrators in your school that they can't help you because they don't really understand what you're going through.
Yeah.
So here you have an assistant principal on the call with you today. And even though he's not your principal at your school, he still is a principal. No, for all you know, you could very easily end up in this school next year. What can he do to make you feel safe, or make you want to trust him, that you would go to him with your with your issues?
Usually I feel like just taking the students' words for certain situations and evaluating it more.
Mhm.
I feel like some teachers they do poorly of like understanding the student and taking their word for some stuff. And if it makes us feel disappointed and like we can't trust them because they won't listen to us, that's what I feel.
Mhm.
Hmm. That's good. So what? Make sure I understand what you're saying. You feel like you feel like they don't when you come to your teacher or administrator in the school and you tell them of your issue, they don't believe you. They don't give you the benefit of the doubt.
Mm-hmm.
They just basically just shoot you down, and you end up just like, okay, well, whatever.
Yeah.
That's pretty accurate.
Hmm.
That's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
So JC, so with him saying that, and and of course he's definitely not speaking for all students, but I mean, if you got one student
Mhm.
um, who says that, it's possible that you got several students who probably think that same way. So
I
if,
hear it a lot. I hear it
Mhm.
when I'm talking to a student. I have a student in my office. And I kind of question them. We get down to the bottom of it. You find out it's like, well, I don't feel like I have anybody here that I can talk to or to run this by. And I think it's just as for adults, it's something that like for the people that I work with, I constantly, hey, make sure that you kind of tap in with this student.
Mhm,
You
mhm,
have those things where, certain students that may get in trouble, they're already counted off by certain adults because, oh, I don't want to deal with that kid. I already know what's going on, not realizing that child is crying for help. A lot of times they act out because something is going on or because
mhm,
they're holding those type of things. So that's the bottom part of it. To me, I think that's always been not a blessing and a curse, but I've always managed to build a relationship with the students that tend to stay in trouble, or the ones, the outcast students. And I think that's just I thank God for being able to give me that unction to be able to deal with those type of kids, because I learned so much from them and I realize it. But like I said, I hear this all the time. It's just they don't have anybody. They feel like we don't know nothing. It doesn't register that the things that y'all going through, we did when I was your age. It's just in a different method. But they do deal with certain situations now, this generation, than my generation. So I understand it's a lot harder, it's a lot different. So you have to
mhm,
take that in accountability,
mhm.
when speaking with students.
Now, Dantia says, one of the viewers, she says, what if money is not involved to spark a violent act? What is the justification then? Because I gave you a very specific scenario
Mm-hmm.
um, relating to money. Because look, I chose money because everybody tend to lose their mind over money.
Yeah.
But maybe it's not money. It's a girl, because
Yeah.
if it ain't money, it's a girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
So does it what does the situation do when there was a girl that you liked her a lot, and she gives you the impression that she liked you too, but then she just dump you and she go with somebody else?
I feel. I don't know. I can't speak for everybody else on this one because
Oh no, you speaking for you.
yeah. Personally, I feel like it's not that deep, but in a certain circumstance where they want a reaction out of you and they want you to react to them or react in a certain way, so they keep leading you on. They tell the person that they like that you saying stuff about them and put
Mm-hmm.
false words and accusations on you just for you to get a reaction, and then it leads in something way bigger.
Mm-hmm.
But
How,
personally,
how,
I leave it
how
alone
much does social media play into that?
a lot.
A lot. That's what we're finding out. Social media. I always say that. I say this every day. Social media is probably the best and worst thing that's ever happened.
Mm-hmm.
Everything tends to boost off of social media, and that's the first thing they
Mm-hmm.
run to. So they're putting up posts and putting stuff on stories during the day. Why they should be in class. It's amping that up. By the time you get situation, like you said, might not even be that big, but because everybody knows, they have to put on face.
Yeah.
And so I've had many conversations with students with that aspect as well. Like, and it's almost a form of peer pressure. It's just social media now, so everybody know, oh, your name was tagged on this, blah blah blah. I gotta say somewhere. I gotta confront them at lunchtime. I gotta confront them during transition time. So in those instances where it's not justified. But I my biggest thing for that, and I'm glad she put that question. Students, they just don't have a way of expressing themselves now. They don't know how to process feelings. So the first thing is to attack. I think I asked this Friday. That's like, why y'all fight so much? That's all they know. They don't know no other way to express themselves. Or so that's the first thing they want to do is fight. Everybody know how to fight, regardless you can fight or not. But that's just a way of how they express themselves. So I think that's the biggest issue between social media, and then they just don't have an outlet to be able to process their feelings. And so that's when the mental health now is really, has boosted over the last few years. Then after when COVID happened, I've seen a major shift where they don't even think to try to process through small things now. So what's justification? Just not being able to process. Point.
Paris.
Yes.
What so hearing what Khalil said and hearing what JC said, what do you think that we can do as parents, grandparents, teachers, aunts, uncles, or what have you? Because basically it would appear that we're sitting back. We clearly see a problem. We clearly know there is a problem. And we all sitting around scratching our heads. Why are our children doing this? But that's all we say is we ask the question, why are they doing this? But none of us are doing anything. So I will say this before you answer, Khalil. One of the reasons why I want to have this conversation is because I'm hoping upon hoping that you could say something, that you will say something that will spark something in JC, that will spark something in your uncle, that will spark something in me, that will spark something in our viewers, that will cause us to do something different with our children. Because everybody who is listening right now, they not just listen because they don't have nothing better to do on a Sunday night. Everybody who's listening cares about what's happening with our kids. There's absolutely no reason, no way, no 6-year-old should be able to walk into a classroom with a gun and shoot his teacher. That shouldn't be his core mode of thinking. And so that's scary. I mean, you got two cousins, 3 little cousins actually. They all about to be 6. Could you imagine them with guns shooting the teacher? Because I don't know. Did they get so angry that okay, I need to shoot my teacher. But at 6 years old, maybe I think I can shoot my teacher and she'll be quiet, but then she'll jump back up. Because I don't think a 6-year-old understands that death is final.
That's a good point.
So Paris, would knowing that you have 2 that are going to be 6, and can you imagine either one of them getting so mad at a teacher? And I not say mad because honestly I don't really know what was going through this little boy's mind. But whatever it was that was going through his mind, he decided, I need to shoot this teacher.
No, I can't imagine. I can't understand how you. Well, I can understand how to avoid it with my own child. I don't understand how to tell other parents how to avoid it. Because I ain't doing nothing specific. You just got to pay more attention to your kids.
That's key.
But
that's something.
It's not an easy. It's not. What's different from when I was in school and Khalil now is it's easier to get a hold of a gun. But it's the same problems, it's the same scenarios. They just don't fight anymore. They just bring guns. So we don't have, no one has the answer yet. So.
Well, so growing up, did we have a gun in our house?
Nah, but we shouldn't. I'm playing. No, we didn't.
Were you allowed to play with toy guns?
Nope. At all. If I bought a toy gun, it got thrown away.
Mm-hmm. Khalil, are you allowed to play with guns?
Yeah.
You have toy guns?
Yeah.
So
it's all right, Khalil. I got toy guns too.
But he didn't have toy guns growing up. And so the questions that I asked you, if I would ask your uncle those same questions, your uncle was not going to get that same answer. Not because he's 30 years old, but your uncle's mind doesn't immediately go to violence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you see that when I asked you about that scenario, I gave you that scenario and what have you, though your answers was honest, and I promise you, I appreciate your honest answers. It's important that you give me your honest answers, because if you tell me what I want to hear, I can't help you. Nobody can help you. You know, if you don't like it, you say you don't like it. If you feel like you want to shoot somebody, say you want to shoot somebody, because then we need to talk about why you want to shoot them. Mm-hmm. So I absolutely appreciate the answer that you gave, but at the same token, I have a school administrator on the line, and and me, being your grandmother and what have you, and your uncle, and though I know that you're smart, I still realize, right, that if an opportunity presents itself, there's a great possibility that you're not going to tell a teacher. And if your friend got a gun, you may be like, hey, well, I don't want to hold it, but you can bring it. And if something pops off, your friend may shoot that classmate of yours, and 2 weeks from now, from when it happens, and you happen to look over and to see where they used to sit at, you ain't gonna be remotely fazed because they brought that on themselves. And so, though that's your answer, that says a lot about our kids today, because it's not just your answer. It's a lot of kids that think like you think. K Boogie says violence is not new. Violence in urban spaces is not new. However, morals, values, and parenting has changed, and social media has definitely made it even more difficult. I think parents gave a good, even though he said he can't tell other parents, the mere fact that you said, right, you got to pay attention. Mm-hmm. You just said a whole mouthful. Mm-hmm. That is absolutely key. K Boogie also says that social media has allowed my embarrassment or disrespect to be seen by the world. Mm-hmm. Now I feel like I'm pressured to do something to protect a reputation that I think I have to protect. Mm-hmm. Khalil, would you say that that's how you feel? You see what she said?
Yeah.
That sounds accurate?
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that that's the majority of your classmates, that's their feeling, their perspective? Mm-hmm. You gotta protect your rep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You ain't gonna let nobody punk you and embarrass you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So, don't y'all correct me if I'm wrong. Don't today we feel like that's a form of bullying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Would you say that's a form of bullying?
It is.
So, I mean, I understand that today that's what we say is a form of bullying, mm-hmm. but I've never seen no bullying like that before. Honestly, I feel like me personally, I feel like it's psychological warfare, to be quite honest, because ultimately these posts, these things that y'all say about each other on social media, it gets into your heads.
Mm-hmm.
It plays on your psyche.
Mm-hmm.
It impacts how you see yourself.
Yep.
And you're allowing the posts of other people to determine who you are.
Mm-hmm.
That sound about right, Khalil?
Mm-hmm.
So, as a 16-year-old young man, how do you combat that? Because it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop no time soon. None of us have the power to stop it. But for each person that's on this call, including JC, including Paris or what have you, they have kids, and they're raising kids. Paris kids are little. I'm not sure how old JC kids are, but I believe they're younger. That his little boys too. That's man. I always say I would never. I wouldn't trade places with any parent today.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, because y'all struggle is way beyond real.
Mm-hmm.
But as a 16-year-old, what can a parent do? Like, if your mom was listening, what could your mom do to help you so that when you get attacked on social media, and it really starts to get to you, what can she do? Or I'm your grandmother. What can I do? Because again, I understand it to be, like I said, what I call psychological warfare. They getting up in here.
Mm-hmm.
They getting in here, and once you get in here, that's a different kind of game.
Mm-hmm.
What can we do? What would you like to see happen? What kind of help would you want?
I'll say, I guess, have parents like understand social media and learn how to combat these false claims about social media and how you should be, how you should see yourself, and what makes you you. I feel like parents should just tell their kids that it doesn't matter what people say you are or what you meant to be, or when you was born, you should not be labeled as that. You should be labeled as someone that's hardworking or someone that has a goal to get something instead of doing what everybody else is doing. So that's how I feel.
Hmm. I just feel like you just told me what you wanted me to hear. You made that sound real pretty.
I just feel like that's just truthful.
Well, that's truthful.
Yeah, that's just
so,
how
if you under attack on social media, you're gonna come tell me, or you're gonna come tell your mom. And as long as we tell you, hey, don't believe what you read, you're not that, you're gonna be good.
Like if somebody was making like a verbal statement about you on social media,
mm-hmm.
I should feel that like I want someone to tell me don't come back with it because it's just gonna leave because someone's gonna think that's true because you went to it instead of just leaving the problem alone and let somebody type. Because then when someone tells you that at school that somebody's talking about you online, it's just gonna mess you up. But if you don't know about it, you don't worry about it, it doesn't really affect you because it's on social media. And not many times people go on social media and talk about what they seen on social media because people don't remember. So that's why I feel like as long as I don't know about it, it's just whatever. And have somebody to tell me that, yeah, it helps.
You know what? I'm so proud of you right now. So remember, so so here's what you just said. And honestly, that's the truth of the matter. So if I'm talking about you, this is me. If I'm talking about you, if you can't see it and you don't know nothing about it, then you're not affected by it, right?
Nope. Not at all.
That's it. And so what you basically just said is because people see it and they react to it,
Mhm.
they get sucked in by it,
Mhm.
and they react. And
Yeah.
That's true.
So
I'm almost certain she's frozen.
yeah.
you're back.
Yeah.
There we go. I don't know who. It must have been on my end. But what I was gonna say is, it so what happens if you like if somebody come at you on social media and you block them? Does that become a problem for you at school?
You say if you black someone,
Yeah.
I'll say yes. If you're never gonna run into them, yeah, usually socialize with each other, yes. But if
What?
you
Why?
like just know somebody on social media, block them, it doesn't really come get to you unless they can get to you and tell you personal. With so like some people it does affect, but most people it doesn't really bother them.
Oh, okay. So like I said, so if somebody is talking about you, say somebody post something about you on social media, and either you read it or you hear about it, whatever. Well, let's just say you read it and you decide to block them. So now you can't see nothing else they post.
Yep.
Will that become a problem for you in school when you see a person? Because because some people they take offense to that. Like, you block me, and so now they want to come at you different.
Well,
So
if you block
is that
somebody, if you
mhm.
block somebody and then you see them in school and I'm sure y'all probably in the same circle or y'all know the same people, so it's going to get back to you. So it's
Yeah,
really no avoiding it. The blocking part doesn't do anything. That just makes you
yeah, they're gonna come tell you.
like a punk.
Yeah, the people gonna run up and come and
Right.
tell what was put
Mhm.
up.
Mm. So is block? So is that an agitator? Does that further agitate the situation?
It's
Um,
definitely a signal of you balling down.
did true, but if you tell the person that if you tell them like if they say yo they showed you this and this is you on their page and you like so I don't really care because I blocked them, then it's like it show that you don't really care and that you're being the bigger person at that point. With
Oh,
in some circumstances they say
I
yeah
was going to
you're being
say,
the bigger person.
do your classmates interpret it like that? That you being a bigger person?
Now that guarantee they don't.
Yeah, most people against like, oh, why would you block him? And I'm like, cause like nobody got to see that, or I don't really care for it. And they're like, oh,
If
then
you
they're gonna like push it more to like, oh, so you're just gonna block and let them post that about you? See, is that you really bowing down?
Oh,
That's how you
so other people now become agitators. Well, my
Mhm.
pastor was just
yeah.
talking about them people today,
Mhm.
or my first lady was just talking about them people today. So they become agitators.
Yep.
Mhm.
Mm.
Mhm.
So you got other people who just keep stuff going.
Only
Yeah.
way that's gonna work for you to block them, you gotta say some good. You gotta say something. You gotta set the social media on fire and then block them. That might save you some time, but you're gonna have to see them the next day, regardless.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
that might,
so
I
when
would say, blocking might actually make things worse. So you should just argue with
um,
there. Keep it there if you
so
can.
so when you say set social media on fire, what does that mean? Like,
You gotta say
you
something
say,
off the
Everybody talk.
wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that you block them, and they gonna still talk about you, but you can tell that they in their feelings. So everybody else gonna see them like, oh yeah, he won, but you block them, so they can't really say nothing. But
ooh.
yeah,
So
it's
again,
high school is messy.
no, it's messy, but so again, but it's psychological warfare because y'all all getting into each other's heads.
It is.
Yeah,
It is.
That you said that's what it is, JC?
Exactly what it is. Like whoever just
Wow.
posted this on that comment here, that they hit the nail on the head. Like,
No, she said reality has become trapped in social media. We do not understand how to separate real life consequences with the lies we see on social media. Yes, ma'am. We
Mhm.
have to take back raising our children. You are absolutely right.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then Kate Willie also says it takes a village, it takes a village mentality is needed to know more than ever. We have to live and teach our babies early. Stop letting them learn life through apps. Yes, ma'am. Killing is real. Consequences are real. That's it. That's exactly it. Well, guys, this has been good. I think the greatest takeaways from this conversation was a couple of things. One, we heard from a 16-year-old that he's saying right that they want to be heard. You want adults, teachers, parents, whoever, you want them to listen, right? That sound right, Khalil? It's important that we listen, and you are 100% right. It is very important that we listen. And then and JC said that we have to be intentional about creating relationships of trust. It's important that you, the student, trust administrators. It's important that you, the same student, trust your parents, because it's not just teachers. It's not the responsibility does not solely fall on our teachers. It's everybody's responsibility. So even as a parent, we have to foster an area of trust. We have to help you guys to feel secure enough to come and tell your parent. And you have to trust that your parent is going to address whatever it is that you need addressed. And then the last thing I think that parents said right is that we got to pay attention to our kids.
Yep.
And I think that's huge. You got to pay attention to our kids. K Boogie said, look, an app can't raise your kids. Those your kids. And don't get in your feelings when the school call you and tell you that your child's doing this, that, and the other. Don't go, oh, not my Johnny. Oh, yes, your Johnny. And even if they might be slightly off, it warrants a conversation because Johnny did something. He might not have did exactly what the teacher said. The teacher might be frustrated and embellished, but Johnny did something. So it still warrants a conversation.
Yep.
So I think those are three good takeaways from this conversation. JC and Khalil, I sincerely appreciate both of you. JC, I appreciate you. Even though I don't have any children or grandchildren at your school, I appreciate what you do every day for this generation. I appreciate that you it's not just a job to you, that you're committed to these kids. And I feel like I see that in you every day. And I remember what you told me about the young man that got on the school bus. And so if nobody this week tells you that they appreciate the work that you do in our schools, I appreciate you because I would not trade places with you. And I love the kids too, but but I sincerely appreciate you doing what you're doing, and you keep it up.
Will do.
And if there's anything that I can do to help, count me in. I always volunteer at various schools and what have you. I work at Bank of America, so we volunteer. And then Khalil, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you because you were honest. You were honest, and that means so much to me. And I assure you, it did not fall on deaf ears. It took courage for you to be able to own up to your feelings and how you see things and how you understand. And ultimately, you have helped every adult who was listening tonight.
Mhm.
because a lot of them don't have these kind of conversations
That's true.
with their children. And
Mhm.
so hopefully they'll be able to go back and talk to their kids, their grandkids, and have these same kinds of conversations, and that they will take the time out to listen. And that I implore any parent, grandparent on the line, when they open up their mouth and say what they say, do not clutch your pearls. Listen, that
Mhm.
your kids are not saying anything different than what you've done when you were their age. It
Mhm.
just sounds different because it's a different dialect, it's a different vocabulary, what have you. But the same thing that our kids is dealing with, we've dealt with it. It's just slightly different. There are different tools being used now
Mhm.
than what we had.
Yeah.
And so, again, I thank you both very much for spending time with us this Sunday, and responding to the comments. We didn't have any callers today, but that's okay. And we still have really, really good comments. And I appreciate everyone who has joined us today. As Vanessa said, children watch how their parents handle situations. Be mindful. Absolutely.
Mm.
Children learn violence at home. Mm-hmm. If you are a screamer in the house, you have a child that screams.
Mm.
If you are a hitter in the house, you have a child that hits. That sound about right, Paris?
You see me over here thinking about it. I was like, I'll be. Dang, man.
Look, that's real talk. We have to be mindful of what we do around our kids, because our kids imitate us.
Mhm.
You got a little kid that come to school and every other word he say is a curse.
Mm.
9 times out of 10,
In the
it's
house.
a curse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And Kay Boogie says, thank you for the honesty. And she says, and thank you for this much needed conversation. Excellent. Well, gentlemen, I appreciate you. I
You.
love you guys. You continue to be safe. They see you continue to be safe in the schools. Khalil, you continue to be safe. And if you find one teacher that you trust, find you one teacher,
At least
one.
Mm-hmm.
And foster that relationship. And that'll be the teacher who got your back.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't gonna be the entire staff. All you need is one teacher, right, JC?
That's it. We'll start with one. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. You have an awesome night, and I will see you guys in 2 weeks. I'm debating. We're supposed to talk about imposter syndrome. I'm seeing how I feel about that topic. It may change.
Is that on Grey's Anatomy?
Is it Grey's Anatomy with the imposter syndrome?
Is it on Grey's Anatomy? Because if it ain't, I don't know what that is.
Imposter syndrome?
Yeah, what's that?
Imposter syndrome is when you in your workplace, in your home, in your school, you show up as somebody else because you feel like the real you, people don't understand, they can't handle it.
Mm.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So you put on airs, you put on the mask.
Mm.
You do what you got to do to fit in, to make other people feel comfortable while you feel uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
That's imposter syndrome. But we'll see. we may or may not discuss that. Okay. But all right, everybody, have a good night.
All right, have a good night, y'all.
Good night, everybody.